There's no question that crossovers and SUVs have become the dominant form of transportation for families in the US. But even though they're outsold 4-1, minivans are still the most functional brood haulers that you can buy. As it is every year, the Honda Odyssey is one of the most compelling minivans that you can buy. And even with a hot new entry in the Chrysler Pacifica, it's still one of the most complete that a parent or kid could hope for.
How does it look?
Every minivan is a box on wheels. Let's face it, none of them are beautiful objects. Honda's styling is just a little bit techy without feeling edgy, as can be said of the rest of the company's portfolio. The optional 18-inch wheels are a nice touch.
How's the storage?
Of course, everything about the Odyssey is meant to make loading and unloading really easy, and the rear cargo area is no exception. Space back here is plentiful, and it's super configurable. I found 13 cup holders in here, and 17 cubbies, pockets, or bins, and then I stopped counting. The point being that you and your crew, no matter how deep you roll, should have plenty of opportunity to store things, and maybe forget about things.
Is it roomy?
Tremendously so. There are 8 seats in here and plenty of space to carry 6 adults comfortably should you need to. Even the really tall folks like me won't mind the leg and headroom in the 3rd row, or have much of an issue clambering back there.
How does the interior feel?
Now, even though this is the top of the line Touring Elite trim, I'm certainly not tricked into thinking that I'm in a luxury vehicle. Still, I think the cabin is well put together and it feels like it's going to stand up really well to hard use.
Is it well equipped?
There's so much equipment in this range-topping Odyssey, I had to write most of this video script from inside the van. Behind the front seats, you'll find a nice little media room with a super wide flip-down screen, wireless headphones, and a detachable remote. Oh, and there are shades on all the rear windows to cut down on glare. The way back has its own HDMI port and power outlet too. Though there aren't any USB ports back here, so device charging could be an issue. One of Honda's biggest party tricks is the Honda Vac, located in the hatch, which seems powerful enough and with a long enough hose to reliably clean up animal cracker crumbs at least.
How's the infotainment system?
While I appreciate that this is one of the rare Honda head units with a regular knob for volume control, the overall infotainment suite is just okay. The double screen setup feels clunky, and the baked-in navigation software does too.
Is it a good daily driver?
So I'm driving around on some typical Detroit streets, which means that they are imperfect in terms of surfacing, to say the least. And the thing is, the Odyssey really soaks it up pretty well. So the suspension is compliant, the overall volume is pretty low. It's a fairly quiet vehicle, even on the highway. And generally speaking, it's just really comfortable and cozy to drive around. You know, of course, it's a minivan. So the thing that makes it the very best at being a good daily driver is the fact that it can haul so many people and things, right? There just aren't that many vehicles that are this comfortable for this many people all at one time.
Is it fun to drive?
All right, so the most fun part about the Odyssey is the fact that it's got a 3.5 liter V6 making 248 horsepower. And that power is fairly available at low speeds and for mid-range passing, thanks to the 6-speed automatic. Now, it's nothing that's gonna push you back in your seat, but it can be fairly entertaining. as I sort of roll through that corner. I will say that the Odyssey has been known over the years for being one of the better handling minivans. And while that's still true, it's probably not at the top of the class anymore, and you still have to consider that that's a relative statement. It's good handling compared to other minivans, not compared to like anything else.
How's the fuel economy?
Even though the Odyssey is a model that's been on the market for some time, it's still wildly competitive here. In fact, Honda's 28 miles per gallon highway and 19 in the city are as good or better than all of its major V6 powered competition.
How much is it?
The Touring Elite trim runs about $45,000, which is roughly equal to the fully loaded versions of other vans. It should also hold its value better than most, as do most Honda products.
What are the negatives?
It's important to note that good as this Honda Odyssey is, this is the tail end of the generation, so it's not nearly so advanced technologically as new entries like the Chrysler Pacifica or the Kia Sedona, and it just has far fewer USB ports.
Who should buy it?
You guys have heard me say this before about other cars, but honestly, you shouldn't buy any minivan without at least test driving the Odyssey. It's still functionally flawless, it's huge, easy to drive, and feels like a really good value. It's getting cold here in Michigan, so it's great that I've got this Pirelli jacket as it's been keeping me warm all day long. If you guys like motorsport brands, F1 brands, drivers, things like that, you should check out motorstore.com so you can get all sorts of apparel, gear, and other cool stuff.